This specific subsection of shoulder is having a look at the associated dangers and hazards when crossing over into the shoulder or the verge of the road. In the animation, you'll see that the red vehicle is forced off the road onto the grass verge. Now, what happens to a vehicle in this situation is that the wheels that are on the grass verge or section, the traction or the resistance is less than what it is for the wheels that are on the tarred section. Because of the different traction or resistance, the forces acting on the vehicle are different on the left side of the vehicle to what it is on the right side of the vehicle. There's more force in the way of resistance on the tarred section, and so the vehicle would be pulled to the right. Now, this is demonstrated in the animation. You can go back and just scrutinize the animation, but you'll see that as soon as the vehicle hit the grass verge, that there was more force or resistance on the tarred side, and so the vehicle was pulled to the right, the driver overcorrected and landed up in the middle of the grass verge. A real-life clip to demonstrate this: the camera is forced off the road by this vehicle, hits the grass verge, so two of its wheels, the wheels on the left side of the vehicle are on the grass verge, more traction or resistance on the tarred side, the right wheels, the vehicle's pulled to the right and lands up colliding with the truck that's ahead. In this clip, something similar, excepting that we don't have grass. We've got a bit of a muddy section over here, so that can be very slippery as well, offering even less resistance than what the grass does, and so it has a similar effect on the vehicle. So this is the point that we want to take away from this section, this animation, or this real-life clip or video, and that is we've got to be very careful when our tires are on different surfaces, because the handling characteristics of the vehicle will then change. So something similar, excepting here we don't have the grass section that the camera rides into or onto. We don't have a muddy or sandy section, but here is quite a pile or puddle of water. Now, as the camera strikes this offers tremendous resistance to the wheels that are on the right side of the vehicle, and so actually throws the path or the alignment of the vehicle out. What's being demonstrated in this clip is that the truck moves off the road onto the shoulder or the verge, but doesn't realize what an angle there is on this verge section. And so normally the verge is slightly inclined so as to provide a bit of a runoff or drainage part to the road, so that water doesn't gather on the road, but rather will be drained off onto the verge. So very often that is the angle at which the verge or the shoulder is. So we've got to be very careful. Here we see that the grass has grown to quite a height, so the driver can't see below that to actually identify the angle of what the shoulder is. And so the consequences are that the truck then goes and overturns. So we do have fairly tall grass actually hiding the surface of the shoulder or the verge. We've got to be careful that it's not that inclined that it will actually overturn the vehicle. Yeah, because of the icy conditions, the road is rather slippery. Now we see a vehicle on the shoulder, But notice that it's not well off the edge of the road. It's sitting right on the edge of the shoulder, in fact, intruding a little bit into the road. Under these conditions, the driver should have been a lot more aware of the potential danger and parked or stopped well off the edge of the road. And even there, it would still be under a potentially dangerous situation, hazardous position, because of these icy conditions. And so where we can, when we stop on the side of a road, we've got to be well clear of the road. And we see these pedestrians just to the side of the vehicle. They should have also had more situational awareness of any potential dangers coming up from behind. So as this video will demonstrate, this vehicle now, because of the slippery conditions, actually collides with the back of the vehicle. The point then of this clip is to appreciate that just because one's on the shoulder section of the road, that you can't just assume that you're safe there. And especially under conditions such as this, one's got to be extra cautious. What this clip is demonstrating is the difference in elevation between the tarred section of the road and the shoulder or the verge. So that's another thing we've got to be careful of, is that the elevation could be quite significant, as we'll see in this clip. Just pausing the video at this point, so you can see how far down the wheel has actually gone onto the shoulder section. So one can imagine what a drop there is on the edge of the roadway here. Now, especially if it was a motorcycle, a two-wheeled vehicle, then this is extremely dangerous and hazardous, because it's not easy for the motorcycle then to get back onto the tarred road section because of the elevation. So in a case like this, it turned out all right for this vehicle, but one can imagine that the edge of the roadway there could be rather jagged. And so as the tire tries to climb back onto the tarred section, it could easily catch any sections of the edge of the roadway there that's jutting out and actually rip the sidewall of the tire and cause a blowout. Please like, subscribe, and get notified.